Good evening and welcome to tonight's edition of On the Infield, where we're speaking to one of the legends of South Australian Speedway racing, Miss Joan Miller. Joan, welcome to the show tonight.
Thank you very much.
Now Joan, we'll go back a few years and we'll talk about the start of your career. Of course, you had a long career in super sedans or sedan racing. How did it all start?
Oh, I think we used to put drivers in the cars. We started off with minis and we put 2 drivers in there, and then they had some powder puff derbies, and I won a couple of powder puff derbies, so I thought, well, I would like to have a go at racing as well.
And what was the first car that you actually competed in?
A Mini Cooper S.
A little Mini Cooper S, and I'm guessing that car would have been pink, because right throughout your career, your cars and also your son's cars have always been pink.
That's right, there's only one colour and that was pink.
And that's basically because of your business that you currently own on Churchill Road?
That's right. Yes, I drove around for weeks trying to find a colour. Stan wanted a colour that stood out, because everybody's business has different colours, and he wanted a colour that stood out. So I drove from Victor Harbour right up to Balaclava and right around everywhere. And I came back and I said, oh, nobody's got pink. We should have pink. But he didn't think much of that to start with.
Now, I'm going back when you first started your career. Was there any other women competing in Speedway at the time?
Not at that stage, there wasn't. There was a couple of, or another lady, Shirley Jones, up at Murray Bridge. She came in later, and Jenny Joyce. They came in, but they didn't sort of last very long into it.
And so, going back all those years, what did the other guys racing against you think about Joan Miller going out on the racetrack against them?
Well, they didn't like it to start with. They thought I was a football, I think, and Crowie told me when they just gave me a few pointers to what to do, and then they learnt not to do that, because I put a couple of them into the wall just by flicking my hand on the steering wheel, and having a front wheel drive, it shot them out to the wall.
Now, you mentioned Crowie, John Crowhurst there. You've raced against a lot of South Australia's great drivers and Australia's great drivers. Is there one particular that you've really enjoyed racing against?
No, I think they've just all been very good competitors, and you meet some wonderful friends and that with them.
And you mentioned you started in a Mini. What other race cars have you utilised during your career?
Well, I started off in the Cooper S, then I went to a Mini Leyland S, then I had a Triumph 2.5 fuel injected, then I had my Falcon, the XD Falcon, and then the latest one, the Pontiac Firebird.
And the XT Falcon, that particular car had a bit of a unfortunate happening to it, didn't it?
Yes, it did. I had it all ready for the Australian title, and we were going away, and we locked it up at work, and then all of a sudden somebody decided they'd like it better than me, and burnt it to the ground.
Yeah, but I was only very young when I heard about that, but that was just devastating. And also, not only did you have a full-size race car stolen, but not too long ago you also had a little race car stolen from your work as well.
Oh yes, that was our miniature copy of our speed car that we had, and when the kiddies used to come into work, they'd get their mum or dad to push them up and down the driveway, and somebody decided they'd like it and cut the fence and rolled it up and rolled it out one night.
Well, as a kid I actually wanted that car, and when I heard that also when it was stolen, that was very actually devastating personally. But not only, of course, throughout the years you've raced a lot of race cars, but you've raced at a lot of different racetracks around the state and the country. Is there one particular track you've really enjoyed driving at?
Oh yes, I like Speedway Park. I like the Clay and Murray Bridge. I don't mind all tracks, because you have to get used to all the different tracks. You just get used to, well, hopefully your son sets the car the right way that you can use all the tracks. And then I'm not sure whether it was 1985, I came second in the Australian ladies title over at the Melbourne Speed Bowl. That was against the open cars as well, so they had Grand Nationals and just super sedans in, and I came second, first in my class but second overall in it.
Now, over the last few years we've actually had quite a few young female drivers getting into the sport. We've got a couple of young sprint car drivers, and also a few locally here driving some B6 sprints and those sort of things. Do you keep a close eye on any of the young ladies, and if they did come to ask you a few tips, would you be interested in perhaps coaching them or passing on some coaching ideas?
Oh yes, but I think they're probably a lot younger than me, and they've probably got, well, I don't know, a lot more energy than I have at the moment. But if anybody wanted to come and talk, yes, no worries.
Yeah. Now, you said that your career started like several decades ago. How did you actually? What was the reason getting into Speedway? What was Speedway so important for not only yourself but also your husband Stan?
Oh well, I think I had the two boys, and they liked the Speedway. They started off in mini bikes and that, and they enjoyed the Speedway. And it also was advertising, I guess, for business and that. And when Stan gave it up, I sort of said, well, you know, I might take it over.
Now, so during your career, you've actually won quite a few awards, and I can just looking across here, I can see the Jacko Award that you actually won a few years ago. Tell us about that particular award and why that one would be special to you.
Oh, I think because it's an Australian award, and I think I've won it twice, and my son's won it a couple of times as well. And Chris Bannon won it also earlier on in the piece when he was driving for us, and that. But yes, he was a good driver. He was a mini driver actually, the Jacko Award, and yes, and it's an Australian award, so I hold it very high in esteem.
And it's not only just a driving award either, it's also an award for just services to Speedway as well, isn't it? So it's not just your driving that goes into account.
It's on and off the track as well, yes.
And so what other, going apart from the Jacko Award, what other awards would you say that have been very special to you that throughout your career? Because just having a look in this room, you can see quite a few trophies around. Just run us through a few races and a few awards that you've actually won.
Oh, well, I've won the Clubman of the Year award for the RDA. I've won quite a few firsts in the Speedway. I've come quite a few lasts as well, but never mind. I just enjoy it. I'd rather win a trophy than probably the money, because I've got something to show for it.
And also, you're also a life member at Murray Bridge as well.
Yes, I was a life member at the RDA as well, and I'm a life member at Murray Bridge.
And go back to last March, actually, when you actually had your final drive. How did that actually come about? Because you hadn't driven for a couple of seasons, and what were the emotions going through you when actually that occurred?
Oh, well, it's actually one season that I hadn't driven, and I thought that everybody had just dumped me and forgotten about me. And John Dawson came into work and asked would I go out there on the last night and do a few laps and then lead the cars in, and thanks to Wendy and Bob out at Speedway City, that was a great night. I thoroughly enjoyed it and was very pleased.
Well, I was actually lucky enough to be in the commentary box when you were doing those laps, and shortly after I went down onto the infield, and I could just see the emotion in yourself, and also his son Bill and Twiggy, his wife. They've been a long time supporters of not only yourself, but they're getting into Speedway, well, have been to Speedway for a long time as well, and you could tell that was a very special moment in their careers as well.
Oh yes, we've sort of been a very close-knit family all the time. I think a family that plays together stays together, and we've sort of, like, whatever the boys were interested in, we sort of followed with them, and I thought, well, I have to join them too. I can't let them just have all the fun on their own.
Yeah. And you talk about your two boys, Bill and Stephen. Bill started off in motocross, and I think Stephen probably would have as well.
Yes.
They've progressed into amazing careers themselves.
Yes, Billy started off in they started off in their mini bikes, and then they went to the bigger bikes in the motocrosses. Then Billy had a Formula 500. Then they had a speed car. Then he had, he drove the Triumph for a while, and then he had the Corvette, and then got his Pontiacs, and Stephen started off in the mini bikes and motocross. And then he started off in the speed car. He actually built his own speed car. He had to do that. He entered into the Duke of Edinburgh Gold Award, and he built his speed car and then was presented to the Duke of Edinburgh after that was all finished. And then he went into Grand Nationals and Super Sedans.
And of course we've talked about yourself and we've talked about your boys, but also of course Stan, your husband, has been well and truly into the speedway and he's really been a personality here in South Australia. Tell us a bit about Stan.
Well, he started off driving in a Mini, and one night at Murray Bridge he nearly went up to visit the stewards when he came around the corner. Well, the steward's box was on the other side in those days. And he broke a CV going around the corner and ended up in the fence and broke 3 ribs. And after that he thought he better not drive anymore because said he was the breadwinner, so he thought that he'd give it up.
Now we'll just see Stan sitting actually out in the lounge at the moment. He's watching actually one of your videos, and he just said you did win it. So tell us actually about that, that amazing race you had at Speedway Park, as it was known just then. We were just witnessing earlier in the lounge room.
I thought Stan had paid everybody to stop behind and not let me win, so that, because I always said at one stage that if I win a feature race I might give up racing, but then when I won that I wanted to do more. I didn't want to give it up.
So in the end, if he actually did indeed pay them, which I'm sure he didn't, it actually would have backfired anyway.
That's right, yes.
Yeah. But no, you've had an amazing career, and like I said, you would have met a lot of people around the country.
Oh yes, I have.
I suppose you like to might want to go through some of the people that you've met and some of the experiences that you've actually had, maybe outside of not only just racing, but just outside of Speedway itself as well.
Oh, I can't remember. I can remember one night at Speedway Park, one of the drivers, I won't name him, but he went up high and I went underneath him, and of course he was one of these that didn't like a lady to beat him, and he came down after, and he was yelling and swearing and carrying on at me and tried to pull me out my car, and Stan and Bill said to him, I think you better get away before you get yourself into trouble. But some nights, I can't remember all their names, the people and that, but I know there's lots of people that I have met, and we've still kept in contact with some of them, but some of them you lose contact with because they get out of the sport.
It's with my own involvement in Speedway, I do know that the Speedway community is a great community. You do meet a lot of people around, and if a driver or something is having a bad night or needing some spare parts or something like that, there's always someone there to lend a hand in there.
Oh, that's right, yes, yeah. And we sort of change parts and that, if we've got a part that we can help them out to keep them out on the track, we like to get as many cars out on the track as we can, so if we can help them to get their cars out on the track, we do that. And
just looking at the sport currently and looking into the future, how do you actually see the sport here in South Australia? Do you see it going forward, or do you see that it needs a little bit of a kick to get it going again?
Oh no, I think there's more and more supers coming because everything's getting a bit more expensive and that, and they're making the cars a lot faster now and that, and I think there's going to be a lot more supers now than there has been over the last few years.
And just going back a few years again, tell us a bit about the Rolly Park days, because a lot of people still talk about how good Rolly Park was, and and that they wish the Speedway could go back to the Rolly Park era. What were your impressions of Rolly Park, and what are your memories of the track?
Oh, I enjoyed it. The track was a lot slicker than with the dolomite than what it is with the clay, but I enjoyed racing there. I was probably the only woman that probably raced there, that I know of anyhow. I don't know of any other woman that raced there, but I enjoyed it with all the big guns.
Yeah, I wish I could have actually probably been there a bit more than what I could have. But just finally, is there one particular real moment that stands out? It might not be actually on the racetrack. It might just be just an experience you had with someone, the travelling or something like that. Is there one moment that really you're going to cherish for the rest of your life?
Probably the main one would probably be winning the feature.
Yeah.
But I don't know, there's lots of other times. I mean, that last night that I had out at Speedway City, the final night, my saddest night I might add, I'll remember that.
So that was definitely it. That particular night you were very happy to go out on that those couple of hot laps.
I wasn't happy to go out in that way, but yes, I appreciate it very much from Wendy and Bob and John for organising it for me.
I don't know, I already said finally, but if there's one thing or one way that you'd want the South Australian Speedway fraternity to remember Joan Miller by, what would it be?
Well, just my good sportsmanship, hopefully, and because when the kids, after the meeting, I'd always come down and I'd let them sit in the car and I'd used to make fridge magnets, and I'd make 50 a night. Every night I raced, I'd make some fridge magnets and give all to the kids, and they always used to come running down to hop into the car and to get a fridge magnet and that.
So just basically just like to be remembered for your sportsmanship, and if that's the way it goes, that's exactly how you'd like to be remembered.
Yes.
No, that's actually a very great way to be remembered, I think, because I remember you as a great sports person. I know the Miller family is a great sporting family, and it's been a privilege watching yourself and of course your boys, and I'm sure we'll be seeing Bill and hopefully Stephen again for quite a few more years to come.
Yes, Stephen wants to come back, but he's working overseas at the moment. But my granddaughter, she thinks that she can have my car and drive it. So she's only 17, so I don't know how she'll go. But she thinks Grandma's just going to give her a car to drive.
Don't we all wish that Grandma would give us a car to drive? That would be awesome. If we had a grandma that would give us a car, I'd love to have a Super Stand, I tell you.
Yes. I have lots of children that used to come out to Speedway. Can I be your grandma? Can you be my grandma? Would you be my grandma? Would you be my auntie? I said, yes, if you would like me to be, I would.
So there's a lot of people out there saying, that's my grandma, that's my auntie out there right now.
That's right, yes.
Well, I hope that they enjoyed watching you as much as we did, as I said, and we hope that they continue watching all those pink cars go around.
Oh, thank you very much.
And thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Down Infield. Thank you very much. And I'm joined down here by son of Joan, Bill. Bill, your mum's hanging up the helmet now, mate. It's time going round the family. Been involved in Speedway for a very long time. Must be an emotional time for you and your family. Here it is, and it's great. Thanks for that, mum. Thanks for that. Thank you. Come on, guys, as she goes around, give her a round of applause. This is the last time you'll see Joan Miller on a Speedway track in a Super Sedan. Come on, let's see if we can get the next two ladies going. Comes down the front screen. Come on, everybody up.
fastest course right around Speedway City and right around the state. So congratulations to Joan for completing those hot laps. And Paris, if you can hear me, hopefully you can get a word with Joan as she gets out of the race car.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea. I think he she comes. That's the 60th kick entry. About to receive the checkered flag for the final time. Receive the checkered flag now. Out now, Speedway City. Great to see Joan Miller. Come on, put your hands together. Get on your feet. Show your appreciation as Paris mentioned. Certainly a very, very capable Superman racer. He heads down to number 2. I think Phil Michelle's down there with Paris now, so one of both of them will have a chat to her. He heads down the back straightaway. Come on, back straightaway, put your hands together, show your appreciation to this great lady of South Australian Speedway. Coming up very shortly, our track grade and interval, and that's about to start. And Clary will be out there. We'll be out there shortly with plenty of free stuff. Make sure you stick around for that. Comes around turn 3 and 4. Good applause out there. We appreciate that as well for this legend in SA Speedway, as Phil Michelle mentioned earlier on. As she comes down the back straight away onto the